Hi, my name is Liora Omer. Today's talk is about lessons I learned on my journey of innovating in chocolate. My background is a bit unorthodox for chocolate industry. It probably helped me a lot to innovate in chocolate, as I came with ideas and methodologies from other industries that I implemented later in chocolate. I am a chemical engineer with a master's degree in nanotechnology. I worked a few years in software companies' R&D teams as an analyst and a product manager. In 2019, I started my own business and founded Chocomake in Israel, where I live. I had the vision of creating a chocolate experience at home, like an espresso for chocolate. At the time, my entire knowledge of chocolate was of an avid consumer. So I went and learned everything I could about chocolate, including becoming a certified chocolatier and a chocolate maker. Last year, I founded Home Chocolat in the US to manage our business activity there. At Chocomake, we enable the consumers to personalize their own chocolate to their taste, dietary needs, and desires. We provide a joyful chocolate making experience using patented ingredient kits and a smart and small tempering machine. Our ingredient kits are composed of pre-processed and pre-measured ingredient blocks. Different kits contain different combinations of ingredient blocks for different chocolate formulations. I would like to show you a short movie that demonstrates the chocolate experience we created. We just saw a video we made to show the new chocolate experience we created and how it works. Going through the stages of the chocolate experience on the consumer side, you select the pre-measured ingredients and put them into the bowl of the chocolate maker. Press the button and the magic starts. Our chocolate maker, the tempering machine, enables a chocolate experience at home without the muss and the fuss. It eliminates the anxiety of working with chocolate. It does everything for you and lets you know when the chocolate is tempered and ready to pour into the mold of choice. You can express your creativity and mix in or sprinkle above any kind of goodie, or use the chocolate in any chocolate application you can imagine, like bonbons, in baking, desserts, and hot drinks. As this talk is about innovation in chocolate, I thought we should define innovation and what is it good for? Why should companies innovate? According to Harvard Business School Online, innovation is a product, service, business model, or strategy that's novel and useful. It allows adaptability. What was is not what will be. Innovation is often necessary for companies to adapt and overcome the challenges of change. We saw it recently with the COVID-19 pandemic. It also fosters growth. Innovations assist in expanding to new audiences. But even a loyal audience and its preferences change over time. It is important to innovate, to grow, and to avoid stagnation. It also separates businesses from the competition. Innovation can distinguish your business from others. So you want to make an innovative product. A good place to start is with looking for a novel idea. The best ideas are solutions to real customers' needs. In my case, I got the idea for chocolate home appliance one afternoon when I badly needed a few pieces of chocolate and couldn't find any in the kitchen. Here, the need was mine, and I was sure it was a new and useful idea because I wanted this magical machine that will make me chocolate. To validate it as a business idea, I needed to make sure it would be useful for other people as well. A great way to test if a new idea is useful is with the MVP methodology. This is an approach originating from the Silicon Valley startups, and it's widely accepted as best practice for software development. MVP stands for Minimum Viable Product. It is a version of a product with just enough features to give value to early customers who can then provide feedback for future product development. The goal is to make quick iterations of building an MVP, testing it, preferably with customers, gathering feedback, and implementing the learnings in a new improved version of the MVP. This way, we make sure it is useful for our customers and that we are not wasting time, efforts, and money on developing a product no one wants. It is relatively easy to make new product versions in software. It is much harder to do so with physical products, such as food products or hardware, which require manufacturing. In my case, I needed to do both, food and hardware. I looked for techniques and best practices for adjusting the MVP method to physical products. I didn't find something that made sense to me to guide me while developing my products, so I created this interpretation of the MVP method for physical products, doing MVP iterations in increasing scales from prototyping on a lab scale through upscaling with small pilots until getting into mass manufacturing. This method worked nicely for the development of our machine. As I'm not a mechanical or electrical engineer, I hired an engineering company that built the first prototype according to the specifications I gave them. There are many engineering companies, especially in Israel, that provide such development services. We did user testings and implemented the learnings in the next prototype. At this stage, I started to work with a different engineering company that specializes in developing toward mass production. We are now testing the last prototype before starting the manufacturing in a factory in China, which specializes in kitchen appliances. We will start with manufacturing a small series of a few hundred machines, sell them and collect customer feedback before continuing to mass production of thousands of machines. In parallel to the machine development, we worked on the development of our chocolate kits. Here, I had the advantage of my background as a chemical engineer and a chocolatier. I did the product development on a small lab scale. Here, you can see my lab. We had quite a few iterations until we were happy with the customer feedback we got. I started with recipes I found online and shared my first attempts with my friends and family. I was very proud. My cousin was kind to tell me the truth. My chocolate was not good enough. That drove me to learn more, get professional, and to experiment more. I got a promising notion to process the chocolate ingredients separately and let the user smell them together to gather chocolate. The feedback I got on the results was much better. This is the essence of our innovation. I will tell you later more about it. For now, let's focus on the development process. I wanted those ingredients to be encapsulated like coffee pods. You remember my fantasy about an espresso for chocolate. We conducted user testing and found out that people really enjoyed the feeling of taking the ingredient block and putting it in the machine. This way, it felt like their own creation. The encapsulation of the ingredients didn't add to the customer's experience, and there was no need to create packaging waste. So we said goodbye to the capsules. Then we used heart-shaped molds for the ingredient blocks because we found this shape pretty. We sold a few dozens of kits with heart-shaped ingredient blocks. When we talked to our customers to get their feedback, we learned that people thought the heart-shaped ingredients were so pretty, they didn't understand it was an ingredient and not a ready-to-eat chocolate. You can imagine the unpleasant surprise when taking a bite of 100% cocoa block. We integrated our learnings and created new customized molds for our ingredient blocks, aiming for the look of cubical blocks with the type of ingredient written on it to minimize confusion. We were happy with the design of our chocolate kits and were ready to upscale and run a small pilot. And then I was faced with a chasm. I reached out to many chocolate manufacturers for upscaling from a few kilos batches to a few hundreds of kilos. However, only few answered my emails, and their MOQs were a few tons per product. For our chocolate kit, where we use combination of 4 different chocolate products, it meant to start with manufacturing 20 tons of products. A company could start manufacturing in such a scale only if it is heavily funded. This is not the case for us nor for many other innovative small companies. Moreover, it is a huge waste and risk to manufacture such a big quantity of inventory for new, untested, and perishable products. The upscaling stage is important technologically, it's true, to see that we know how to produce new products. But its main purpose and importance is to be able to test the product with our audience and see that we're making the right product and that we know how to sell it. Manufacturing great quantities of untested product is a risk that big companies may take, but small companies cannot. After a few frustrating months, I flew to Brazil to look for a co-manufacturer that will make small batches appropriate for our stage. I was very lucky, and I now work with a chocolate maker there that was willing to do it together. It is also their first time in a project like this, but they saw the potential and that I was serious enough to visit their factory, so they agreed to the pilot. I promised to tell you more about our chocolate innovation. I'm very happy to share we were recently granted the patent for it. We process each chocolate ingredient separately and create these ingredient building blocks out of them. The consumers can build their own chocolate recipe by controlling the type of the ingredient, its quantity, and ratio. There are countless possible combinations. These are the 3 building blocks types: cocoa liquor, sweetener, and milk. In the current pilot, we manufactured 1 type of Brazilian cocoa, 1 type of dairy milk, and 2 types of sweetener, organic and sugar, and 0-calorie sweetener. Our goal is to expand the variety of ingredient blocks to offer also a few options for alternative milk and sweeteners, as well as different cocoa blocks from different origins and by different chocolate makers. This method for creating chocolate recipes has great potential for the health-aware consumers who might want to control their sugar consumption or follow a special diet. Every person can create their own perfect guilt-free chocolate. For curious consumers, it is a great opportunity to explore different cocoa and other ingredients and experiment with chocolate formulations without being a chocolatier or a chocolate maker. For boutique businesses, this is an opportunity to tailor their own special chocolate recipe per application and per customer's demand. For example, for a plant-based sugar-free chocolate cake, they can make 1 chocolate recipe for the cake, 1 for the ganache, and another for the chocolate decorations. To sum it up, I hope I convinced you that innovation is important. We saw how we use the MVP methodology at Chocomake with our product development. There's currently a gap in the chocolate industry that hinders innovation, lacking chocolate manufacturers that could do gradual scale-up of production. A gap could be a great business opportunity. I encourage you to close this gap and facilitate true product innovation in chocolate. And on a final note, innovation is not easy. We are fortunate to be in a sweet business. Thank you.